What's up, world? I just want to shout out the individuals that all of the strong-minded, conscious folks in the community and in the culture that are calling out the BS, calling out the toxic behaviors, calling out all of the things that is a hindrance to our evolution in the Black community and in the hip-hop culture, right? Because there's a lot of things that are ours, but there's a lot of things that people have they have stolen or attempted to take and make it their own. And it is being expressed and it is being exploited and it is being promoted in a way where it was not initially the basic values and the basic culture, the certain type of way of the culture. It has been infiltrated. It has been compromised. For the conscious individuals that are calling out BS that they know that is toxic to the minds of the community, the babies all the way to the adults, right? I salute you. I admire you. I respect you, because sometimes, it's hard to call out things that is going to be controversial to those that are a part of the problem, are a part of the machine, are a part of the whole promoting all of these toxic behaviors, such as the extreme sexual liberation, media, content, music, hill music, the music that is destroying the minds, destroying the minds and the emotions, and just the mentality of the community, the mentality of the culture, the drill music, the kill music, the FUCK music, the trashiness of it. And like I say, I give a disclaimer, which I really don't have to, because I'm very much a grown woman. But I give this disclaimer because a part of me wants to express that as a grown woman, I love hip hop, and there is grown shit that I love as a grown woman. But I want to be clear that as a grown woman, I also have common sense, and I know consciously what the toxicity and what the sexual liberation, the exploitation and the exposure of the sexual liberation, what it does to young folks, what it even does to adults, right? So grown things, as a grown woman, I get to enjoy the entertainment of certain things and liken to vibe to certain things and certain aspect of music or whatever, or even if I wish to express myself in a certain type of way. Is this appropriate for said ears or audience? People need to get back to the thought, the marinating and pondering on the thought of knowing your audience. Kind of like how we say reading a room. Same thing, knowing your audience. So when you're when you are sharing certain music, when adults are sharing certain music and they're sharing certain media and they're saying certain things, being mindful that in this deconstruction and reconstruction of hip hop, that people like minds like myself and people like me that have this hope for hip hop to be revamped in a more positive light, that's definitely something to consider. It's a big one, knowing your audience. It's just like if we go and we frequent people's businesses, right? Or if we go in different places or whatever, some people say, oh, well, some people, they like, oh, you don't talk like that, that's not authentic. Or you put it on your white person, your white girl, your white boy voice or whatever, because you speak with such intelligence, or you're able to articulate your needs or your wants, which is a powerful thing. And it's a very intelligent thing when you can articulate yourself that way. But it's also knowing your audience. You know what I mean? Knowing your audience. So when you go into different places or you go in different spaces and when you talk to different people or whatever, if I talk to my sister a certain type of way, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm having the same kind of conversation with my business partner or somebody that I'm trying to do business with in certain spaces and certain places. Knowing your audience. It's the same thing with someone that has a certain type of craft or is delivering a certain type of message. There's some people that have been placed in positions of leadership in a prominent position that don't deserve that, because it's very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous how they're sharing their messages and sharing their so-called gifts. Is it a gift? Is it a gift or is it a curse? And I'm gonna tell you what I mean when I ask that question. A gift is something that a person can take in, and it helps to heal, to nurture, to bring a feel good feeling or something that's going to help grow you or evolve you. A curse is what? Quite the contrary, right? So just because a person has a tongue in their mouth and because they can say something or because they have the ability to spit a rhyme doesn't make them an MC. It doesn't make them good, and it doesn't make what their ability is an absolute gift. Is it a gift? Is it a curse? Are they an asset or are they a liability? For example, this Sexyy Red character, I don't see that there's anything sexy about her. And there's some instances, like I said in previous uploads, that we want to have empathy and compassion for certain individuals in certain instances. But I'm gonna say in that instance, because I am a wise, conscious Black woman, and because I have a young daughter, I don't necessarily give compassion and empathy for that. I understand that I am very aware, and I understand that a lot of us come from these places and these communities where, as a whole, we can have empathy and compassion for people falling short or for the ignorance or for the certain behaviors and ways of people in our communities, because sometimes it's just like, considering the fact that it was just like that's all that we had to work with, and when you don't know better, you don't do better, but when you know better, you do better. But when you have people in the community that are trying to call out your toxicity and your dangerous behavior, your risky behaviors, your risky music and your risky content, the things that you are calling out, and you're absolutely undermining it and you're ignoring it, and you keep going on this way of your trashy nature and your trashy behaviors. I'm supposed to have, as a almost middle age, as a very grown, mature, conscious Black woman, I'm supposed to have empathy and compassion for somebody that don't take heed to the call, for somebody that absolutely keeps going on about their life and their ways and ignoring the warnings. When people are telling you that the things that you're putting out is despicable, is disgraceful, is distasteful, that it is very trifling, and you keep engaging in the BS, They say that a hard head make a soft ass. And a lot of people have learned the hard way. And unfortunately, it's sad to say, but I'm telling you what God love. It's the honest to God truth. Some people literally have to bump their head, and they literally have to learn the hard way. When you tell them something and you're trying to liberate them or bring them to the light or bring them out of their slumber or whatever it is, the chaos, the confusion, their intoxicated state, their mental state, when you're trying to help somebody to bring them out of their slave state or their comatose state, and they refuse to take heed to the call, that's a problem. And you're going to learn one way. You're going to learn one way or the other. So as far as individuals like the Sexyy Red character, who Nelly said, everybody was vibing to the whole music until the real host showed up. We're not giving no passes to that, And like I said, as a grown woman, if you want to express different aspects of yourself in your grown age and your grown nature, I feel like you should be free to do that. But we have a responsibility. This is the difference. We have a responsibility to protect the children and to protect the youth, to preserve them, and to make sure that they are not exposed to stuff prematurely, to protect their innocence, right? Because even outside of our culture, there is so much unspeakable things that is taking place with the children. The sexualization of the children, absolutely inappropriate. And then all of this shit that has been going on with the infiltrating of the children and their innocence, and turning them out and just compromising the youth. All of this shit has absolutely gotten out of hand. So when something gets out of hand and it's out of control, then what? It bleeds over into our culture. And some people say, well, this came from our culture and this came from our culture and da-da-da-da-da. If we're being honest, a lot of that stuff came from the beast system. It was not in our culture. We've always been nurturing people. The black woman nurturing, feeding, and, helping to raise a community, right? So as the mothers and fathers of civilization, we have a duty and a responsibility to protect the children. And I think that goes without saying, but more people need to speak up about it. And I'm saying it because it needs to be talked about consistently, right? To let the enemy know, and these trash ass individuals who are in prominent positions that shouldn't have those positions because they're very irresponsible with their craft, to let them know that there are individuals out there that's not only watching them, but we calling y'all ass out. We calling it out, period. For her to make music and to talk about her private parts, and it's just like the lowest of the lowest and the most unintelligent, stupid shit. And then for her to make a cosmetic line with labels of sexually transmitted diseases, how mindless is that? How trifling is that, right? I don't vibe with it. I have never vibed with it. I spoke about it before. I'm speaking about it again. And just because Nelly say, mindless things because he might be a little zooted, we're not going to say that it's okay. And we're not giving passes to it because, it's not something that is acceptable. Hip hop is a beautiful thing and so amazing. The talent and just how, great we are as far as our creativity and the talent. But, for it to be infiltrated and for it to just continuously be dragged in the mud and for people to just be let in, to be able to continue to infiltrate and compromise it in the worst of ways, in representations of this falsehood of what hip hop is, when it really is not that. Hip hop is not black women degrading themselves. Hip hop is not the brother, talking about taking out his brother in every other bar. It's so much better than that. So whether we're talking about the hip hop culture or the black community, there are things that need to be called out, and we calling the shit out. We are. And that's what this message is about. It's about calling shit out. You might find me in a different type of energy or vibe where, I'm mellow out and I'm just, I'm chilling and I'm talking real soft, real cool, real sweet. And then you might find me like this. So I guess it just really depends on what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? But this is serious to me because we're talking about STDs. We're talking about, obviously, teen pregnancies. And then we're talking about how it's easy for these youngsters to take their brother out like, they literally in the Middle East in combat and don't think nothing of it. Whether they are sober or they are inebriated or intoxicated or whatever on something, it's not normal. And quite frankly, I think a lot of us are tired of it. I think we're really tired of it. So, you're a grown individual. Do you in the best way that you know how. Have fun, right? I think that we should have fun and do things, do what makes you happy, but we need to do it responsibly. And like I said in a previous upload, people need to call out their people. They need to check that bullish at the door because it's not acceptable. When characters like Sexy Red come into the community and people, they vibing to her music and they popping it and, just making it seem like, that is acceptable. How? Where they do that at, for real? Because I don't even know individuals for real that even get down like that brag about having STDs or you know, make music about what their genitals look like. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. And then it's even more insane to know that people is backing that, is people bumping that. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, that Sexy Red character, she gets no play in my vehicle. None whatsoever. So yeah, let's continue to call out the BS, you know. And I would love to see these young folks see more representations of what love look like, what sophistication and class look like, and knowing that, you know, the culture is not for us to hate one another, because that was something that was programmed into, you know, into our communities. But, you know, our real culture is a powerful people and a loving people. We are like, we're like gentle giants, you know? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we could show up and we could show out. We could pop off, you know? We could rise up and it can, we could be on some real warrior type stuff if we want to. But at heart, our essence, our divine nature, our default nature and essence is love. We are a loving people. We are a nurturing people. You know what I mean? That's a fact. So we, you know, we've been veered off far left for a long time, for a very long time. But as long as we got breath in our bodies and we're waking up, there's always a chance to rectify what needs to be rectified and to make a change, you know? Not saying that it's going to happen overnight or it's going to happen tomorrow, but it's something that can very much happen. And when Black folks take the initiative to stand up and to you know, to change the culture for the better in a positive way, and to, you know, reintroduce ourselves to the world as, hey, this is what we're doing. We're not doing that. You know, that was a season, and, you know, we let a lot of stuff get out of hand, but it's our responsibility. We're going to show up, we're going to step up, and we're going to, you know, reintroduce ourselves and show the world, tell the world what we're doing and how we're doing it. And as a requirement, right? A non-negotiable, not a, oh, you know, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And some people say, well, how do we do that? Well, like Summer Great Mind said, I absolutely agree with them. First and foremost, stop, you know, signing to these corrupt record labels. Stop giving your money to them. Stop letting these people with big money, these folks with big money and these record labels give you money to sell your soul. First and foremost, you know, Black folks, you got righteous intentions and we on the same wavelength or whatever. You got the money. Let that money circulate in the community, and, you know, let that money circulate to individuals that have a certain type of talent, that's putting out the messages and the music and the content that is going to be a gift to our people and not a curse. You know, that's one way to do it. You know, stop feeding in the hand of the enemy that is a part of the problem, the one who is assisting in the demise of our people, you know. And hopefully, you know, characters like Sexy Red and all of these young women who are, you know, they popping it and you know, popping it in public places and just doing it in the worst, most classless ways. You know, hopefully somebody will, you know, continue to talk to them, and, you know, they will be able to retain the message and put out some more classy, sophisticated, some real creative material and music. And then, like I said, you know, as grown folks, do you, but do it responsibly. That's all I'm saying. Do what you do, but do it responsibly. But I'm not vibing to none of this trash, none of the trashy trends, none of this trashy ass music, none of this degrading music or self-hatred music. Like, we're not a self-hating people, even though that was something that was programmed into us. Like, nah, we love ourselves, you know, in a major way. So yeah, we calling it out. we putting our foots on the necks of these trash ass individuals and anybody that is glorifying and pushing that mess too. And yeah, we're ushering in a new system. That's what we're on. So, peace.